So I posted a short the other day of the Triang dock shunter, the model that was originally a clockwork model and motor was put later, and that's how I found out why it looked very tall. It looked almost like S-scale or something to me. But someone pointed out in the video prototype of this, and that this model is only about 4 millimeters over scale. So I took the 4 millimeters off underside of the boiler, not the boiler itself, but the part under the underside of the boiler, and also the bottom part of the cab, and it came off. It actually, there was lines that actually helped you do this, so it was a very easy model for conversion. So I brought it down to something very close to scale. Someone had also suggested that putting a crew in the cab of these models really helps them, and boy, did it. That was a great tip. With the lowered body, I was very happy with that. Then I turned to the mechanism. Now, Paul at Shaky Hand Shed had done a fantastic job taking one of these older models and grinding down the wheel flanges and so on, and you got it to run really well. I basically followed his instructions completely on this one. It just didn't work for me. It wasn't happening. I don't think the motor was as good in this one as the one he had, and also the transmission of the motor noise through the metal Triang wheels into the tracks was just a joke, and it couldn't get over points at any kind of decent speed. You'd have to go through it full, like 60 miles an hour. This is a shunting loco. So what I did was, you can see in this photo here, I replaced the motor with a 24 volt €2 motor from China. See, I took the original worm gear from Triang out and fixed it to the shaft on the motor. That's very important. Get yourself a worm gear puller. You can get them quite cheap on eBay, and that made getting the original worm off the Triang model so easy. Put it on this new motor, and then using a tie wrap, you can see the tie wrap there, that's how I adjusted the correct tension for the motor to sit onto the chassis in order to not chew up the gears and engage correctly. When I got it right, then I put 2 drops of crazy glue or super glue on either side of the motor, and this held it. Now, that was only half the story in the transformation. The other half was when I was getting these wheels off a pannier and replacing the Triang wheels with them. Now, these have a metal rim on the outside and a plastic or a nylon spoke section in the middle, and the difference that made was incredible, just incredible. So it's a lot quieter now, and it's a lot less beefy looking or something. The performance between this and what it was before I changed the motor, I'll just pull back here so you can see a bit better, is remarkable. It starts at a very slow speed, so we'll start with that. It crawls almost silent. I know there's a lot of nostalgia about bringing these models back to factory condition. That's great. I totally get that. But when you can get performance like this for spending very little, if it's not coming back to factory performance, then why bother? Okay, now it's coupled on the point there, no problem. Now we'll let this go around. It's going to go through a Pico 3-way point in a second. It might stall, I'm not sure. Went cleanly through. And we'll slow it down to see how slow we can get over this point. The first point, not a bother. Second point stalled. Let me see, I can pull it back a bit. If I give it a little more throttle. Here we go. So look, that's more than ideal for a shunting layout. Look. More than ideal. Now regarding the livery, I wanted to paint it in the style that you see many of these industrial saddle tank shunters in photographs and on model, and they were the ones that belonged to private companies were all usually painted in beautiful colours and very well kept. There was a lot of pride among the workers in these industries that had these little logos. And so I wanted to reflect that, so I went for a red and black finish, and the red I wanted to be like the London Transport red that they have like on the pannier tanks and so on. I think it's okay, it's not bad. I remade a whistle on the top that was missing from a piece of styrene rod. It's passable from a distance. I painted the dome and the top of the chimney in gold, and also I put a lamp at the front. You can see that here. So I'm very pleased with this. Can't complain at all. I also blackened the running gear, the rods and so on, and the outside wheel rims with a black Sharpie pen. So all in all, I'm absolutely delighted with how this came out. I have no complaints, and I have to say, I've been remotoring Triang models for a while now, with I'd say about a 70% success rate. I now realize what the problem was. I didn't use the original Triang worm because I found it very difficult to get off the old motors. Now I can do that no problem using the gear puller. And so this is what I'm going to do. Like, of course, if I had something that was mint in the box and everything, I wouldn't do it. But you can upgrade these models. There's very good posts online lately about just the poor quality after a while of the latest models that come out. This cost me a fiver, the motor cost me £2, and there's €1 paint and 50 cents for the two figures in the cab. And I have a model that's really quite outstanding. And it has great haulage as well. First point, second point. Happy days.